Hello, Namaste. Now, as everyone knows that Minecraft is totally not a hot topic and there are very few people who are making videos on Minecraft right now, so it's totally very easy to be a successful Minecraft YouTuber. So, I thought I'd capitalize on that opportunity and yeah, it's gonna be so easy to be famous and Yup. Anyway, so I've been playing Minecraft for some time now, and not enough time because I don't know how to change my skin. I'm stuck with Alex, not even Steve, Alex. And okay, no. So I'm not someone who identifies as a woman. So, that's why it's so preposterous that I'm stuck as Alex. There's nothing wrong with being stuck with, Alex. Shit. Anyway, so I've been playing Minecraft for a while now and I have no idea how Redstone works. So I thought it'd be a fun experiment to try to figure it out on my own. And that's what I did for this video. As you can see, I've made some contraptions, experimented a little, and by experimented a little I mean experimented a lot. And oh god, I can't even begin to tell you the amount of pain, the amount of brain cells it took to try to figure this out. And I'll show you where it all began. Initially I was labeling everything very nicely, how these are sources and how redstone dust takes signals. But once this madness began, all that formality was yeet. So the basics are clear. Sources provide a source for the signal, obviously. Redstone dust takes the signal up to 15 blocks at max and it loses the signal strength till the 15th block, and the 16th block has no signal at all. Pretty easy, right? Then there's the repeater, and it does what it says it will do. It repeats the signal, and if you put a repeater, you put some dust, and you put a signal, voila, it repeats the signal. It does what it said it'll do. Magic. But it also does another thing actually. It delays the signal a little if you like. That's it. That's a repeater. Now I'd really love to tell you that the comparator is this. Actually the comparator is not that hard, but putting things together makes things really complex. So the comparator looks maybe not that innocent, but it doesn't look that hard. All it does, the name is pretty forward. Comparator, it should compare, and actually it does that. So yeah, actually the comparator isn't as difficult as I was just saying it is. Alright, this is YouTube. I have to be dramatic. I need to get views. Alright, shut up. Anyway, the comparator takes in a signal and outputs it as long as it isn't getting any signal from any of its sides that is stronger than the input signal. So this is getting an input signal of 2. The lower the value, the stronger the signal. Now if it gets a signal of 1 from one of its sides, there will be no output. It's as simple as that. Alright, and there's also a subtract mode where it subtracts the output signal is the subtract of the input minus the side signal. So now it's negative, right? Because this is a weaker signal than this. So the output is 0. But if we put like 3 here and 2 here, the output signal is 14 because there are a maximum of 15. No, it's 15 because there is a maximum of 15 and the next signal is 0, or 16. I don't know. I know the terminology is confusing, but Redstone is, so deal with it. Let me show you the first automatic thing that I built, and I kid you not, it was the best feeling ever. Alright, so we have a observer here, and whenever the observer observes a change, hence the name, it generates a signal. A signal can be used to change the orientation of a piston. Alright, see, the piston changes once it gets a signal. So what we can do is simply put a piston there, and when the observer observes a change, it generates a signal. That signal changes the piston, and it's a never ending loop. It's also quite inappropriate, especially if I do something like this, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm better than that. You didn't see that. I mean, you did, but you didn't. Not here. Now, the two main things that I feel are very useful are a pulse and a clock, like a clock like this. Alright, and I'm gonna teach you how to make that, because that's used in everything, I feel. So a pulse, what exactly is a pulse? A pulse is just a signal that comes once and never again. How do you achieve that? Well, we know that a comparator, the output of a comparator depends on its bias. We'll be calling this bias. Alright, so if the bias is greater than this, than the input, then the output will be 0. So what we do is, if we want to input a signal, but we want the signal to last for a very small time, we'll just create an input that reaches the comparator, and the input of the comparator first, and then the bias reaches a little later. So, and as soon as the bias hits, the comparator shuts down, and a pulse is as simple as that. You saw that? Yep, that's the pulse. We can increase the delay actually. See, the length of the pulse changed. Voila, magic. So a clock isn't actually much different from a pulse. A pulse just comes one time. A clock is a regular, is just pulses coming out after regular intervals. So it's pretty simple. The bias that I'll just show you how it's made. And we make a delay, and voila. Okay, so what's happening is that the comparator gets a signal, and initially there's no bias, alright, and so it creates an output, and that's nice, but we need an alternating output at a regular time interval. So we create a bias, but if we only created a bias here, that would just shut it down and nothing would happen. So we want the bias to be alternating as well at regular time intervals. So the input for the bias could be the clock itself. So that's what we're doing. We're taking the output and putting that as the input to the bias. And yep, that's it. That creates the clock. Now there's actually much more, and I've been experimenting with this for days actually, and this massive circuit was my initial design for a switch, which later got condensed to this. So yeah, it's actually pretty fun to work around with redstone. I also made an elevator, but that elevator does not work. Let me show you what I mean. If I press here, if I stand here, the elevator starts, and you can see that the elevator came up. This came up, but this does not go down. It refuses to go down. So if I stand here, it goes down. Oh, it goes down. But why is this piston stuck here? Oh God, this.
Yes, 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 yes. Yes.
I'll be making more stuff actually. I think redstone is actually very interesting, and you can do a lot with it. Yep, that's essentially it. That's it. That's the video. The end. Bye.